Welcome to the Perlo podcast. We talk construction, its people, its challenges, its opportunities. You may have federal jurisdiction, state, county, city, sometimes even local neighborhood associations. I mean, it runs the gamut. Let's talk through how those can affect our site logistics plans.
Well, I mean, permits, that could be one that comes to mind is if we're down by the airport and we have any FFA regulations with flight patterns or different things that we might have a problem with a crane being up in the air at a certain time, or different things that we have to put into place to even have that crane there, or any of the activities we're doing. That'll come into play. Inspectors are something that, believe it or not, logistics affect that. The jurisdictions can be so much different depending on where you're going. Certain jurisdictions don't inspect items that we inspect in Portland. And when you go out of town to Sacramento, or you go over towards Spokane, or you go Idaho, you go wherever, you're going to have a learning curve of trying to understand what they're calling in, what they're looking at, the hot buttons for them. So I've also been to places where they're so rural and away from everything that they might have a building inspector, but it's sharing it with a very large area. And they might, a lot of these areas will bring in a county inspector that is brought in on certain days to do electrical inspections. So you got to be able to plan your job around when those inspections are going to happen, because a lot of those inspections are going to be key inspections to get to your next stage on your schedule. So being mindful of those and understanding that part of your jurisdiction. Stormwater comes to mind and what's going to happen. What works in Portland doesn't necessarily work in Seattle and doesn't necessarily work in Sacramento. I mean, we go down to Eureka and we find out that part of its jurisdiction, we're looking at a weed of interest.
Weed of interest, not weed.
No, it's true. It was eyes wide open, and we only learned that by going down to the place that we're going to get special inspections from. And they did the geo reports over there, and they let us know, hey, such and such, the entity has looked at it, there is a weed of interest, and it has to do with a specific weed that grows in this specific area. And what we see in Oregon is we see us protecting tree roots and tree protection, so we'll put fences around those to get our site set up. Well, we're gonna have to not touch a whole segment of this lot because there's a weed of interest. And then we had supers that were down in Sacramento, and they found out very quickly that they had to get trained up on different was lizards and different things that they were looking for down there that couldn't be on the job site. And if they were, if they got inside of pipes and things like that, they were protected. So there's all kinds of weird stuff that comes into play that you don't find until you understand the geographical area that you're working on.
Could be the migrating turtle. We've dealt with that too. So.
But those are kind of some silly little things. But some of the things we'll see is we'll get into a inner city area. And if we're going to run trucks, we had it happen over at our job off of Happy Valley area. It's a storage unit, and once again, it has no room to bring multiple trucks and stage them for concrete pours. So we had to pre-plan with the city to get an agreement to set them up on a side road and bell them in. We call belling in when we call them in until one truck at a time can come to the pump. But that was stuff that had to be planned and okayed with the city to be able to perform those tasks.
Visit us online at perlo.biz, subscribe to catch our future episodes, and join us on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube to discuss all things construction. And finally, work hard, do what's right, and make it fun.